They're calling this the expansion of 2K and 3K. But if you're a group family daycare provider, you're probably asking the harder question, whether this is expansion or extinction. I read the RFI line by line, the eligibility rules, the network structure, the funding language, and what is clear is this: the system is shifting. So today, we're breaking down whether this expansion was designed for us or structured in a way that sidelines independent group family daycares, and what this means for your business.
Welcome to Master and Thrive. This is your early childhood education platform created by providers, for providers, and many more. Because we don't want you just to survive in your business, we want you to master and thrive in it. But before we start, let me introduce our co-hosts.
Hi, everyone. I'm Tiffany Diaz, childcare provider and business owner for over 15 years and childcare consultant that focuses on business operations and compliance.
Hi, how are you? My name is Diane Wilson. I've been a childcare provider for about 9 years. I am also a proud mother of 2 children. I'm extremely passionate about creating a safe, structured environment for the little ones in my community.
Great. Thank you for sharing. It's, again, an honor to share this platform with you. I'm Millie Carbajal. I am program owner as well in the Bronx. For the past 15 years, I've partnered with the Department of Education for 3K and pre-K, so we're able to offer continuity in our program, and we're huge community advocates, so we're really excited to create, again, this platform where the community can come together and share. So thank you again, ladies. Truly a pleasure to be here with you. So today, I know episode 1, there was breaking news. I remember the breaking news. So thank you for sharing that, Tiffany. Really intense.
It truly was.
So today we're breaking down the New York City DOE solicitation for 2K and 3K services, known also as an RFI. And with many providers, they're asking the question, is this the extinction for group family daycare or an expansion, a way for us to be included? But I feel before we can really get into RFI, Tiffany, you brought up a great point in defining what different modules there are throughout our educational institutes in New York City.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Millie. So I want to start off by explaining this childcare industry, which is enormous. It's huge.
Yeah.
So just to give everyone out there that's not within our field, to give you a bit of a visual, imagine a tree and all these different branches. So instead of branches, I'm gonna say modality, because that's the terms that we use within our industry. So we have many modalities, many branches within our industry, within childcare. So the first one, just to keep it nice and short for you guys, is legally exempt, which are the ones that are not licensed or registered within the Department of Education to have a license. This is, so to speak, maybe a babysitter, maybe a family member of yours that's going to be taking care of your child. I'm not gonna go into the parameters, but to give you a bit more. Now, the next one would be family daycare, FDC, all right? And that one is governed by Articles 417. And those are the ones that it's just a provider that can work with the children. They do not need to have an assistant with them. And the next one, which is the ones that us right here on your platform are our group family daycare, all right? Group family daycare is actually a little different from family. Why? Because we must have an assistant with us in our program. And we are governed by Article 416. And when I say articles, those are the regulations. The regulations that basically tell us, these are the rules, this is what we're supposed to do, these are the non-negotiables. So just to keep that in mind. Next is center-based programs, okay? This is another modality of care, another branch in our amazing tree. So center-based programs are Articles 47. And they're governed through that regulation. And those are those center commercial places that have childcare programs that have infants, toddlers, and preschoolers. And I'm gonna pivot a little bit because we also have SAC programs. SAC programs are for school-based childcare after school. So that's to give you a little bit. Oh, and also mentioning that that's governed by Article 43. So that is the regulation that focuses on that specific program. And this is important to give this information because when we hear certain information or certain breaking news out there from the governor, from the mayor.
We'll invite new early childhood providers to express interest in participating in our existing 3K program and to launch 2K services.
And they say childcare is going to get funded, such and such millions, such and such billions. We automatically assume that this is going to all the branches of this enormous tree, to all the modalities of care. And that is not the case,
Right.
at least
Not
over
from
50,
our experience.
over 50% of the time.
Yes.
I have 15 years in this. Millie has 15 years. Ayan, 9 years. That's not the way it trickles down. All modalities of care do not always benefit from all of these different initiatives that come out just because we hear the word childcare. So thank you, Millie, for just allowing us to highlight that and give that bit of explanation when it comes to this.
Yeah, I think that was really helpful information. Thank you. I think an explanation of, like you mentioned, really understanding where education is allocated is important for other people to understand, and hence why we are fighting for our model to continue, group family daycare, which is the best, by the way. But seriously, so how does this apply to the RFI? Like, why is this important?
Okay, great question. So one of the main things are that you have to have a license or permit, okay? Number one, that's a non-negotiable. You couldn't even respond to this RFI if you did not already have it within your hands. Not in process, not thinking about it, not wanting it. No, at the current moment, when you filled out that RFI online, you had to have that already, okay? That's the main thing. Now, another thing is that it's important to notice where it's leading to, okay? Where the different opportunities within this RFI are leading to and how it's going to affect us and how we're able to even, if so, apply for it.
Yep.
Right, good. So how would it affect Article 47 and 43? Like, would they benefit from this RFI?
So right now, my understanding of this is if you have a network, you're okay. If it comes to, if you have a network and you're within the designated areas that they're going to pick, you're good. If you are not with a network such as us, myself included, we will be suffering from it. Maybe it may not hit us right away. And the stipulation is that it may not affect us, but it's still something that longevity-wise, it will affect us at some point because the goal is that they're expanding this to PK,
Correct.
to different areas. So at some point, it's going to be either you are with a network or you're not.
So in other terms, it's that if you're an independent childcare provider, as we are, we have no way of applying to be able to receive children through 2K.
Yes. Not only that, there's also something that they did recently that you had to apply to become a network as a provider, which I did not quite understand that. But that's one of the things that was talked about with
And
this
why it's
RFI.
important that we understand how the different modalities are affected by this RFI.
Absolutely.
So who gets priority? Article 47 permitted isn't. They do not. So that's a good thing. So we know they won't get it, right? But the current DOE contracted providers to apply and add 2K at the site where they do not already offer it 3K and pre-K, meaning what they're looking for is to create continuity.
But continuity where?
Only for the people, only for the providers that provide. Okay, this is another thing we spoke about
Yes.
using the word providers.
Provider.
When we use provider, we also mean educators.
Yes, we are.
Owners. We're owners of our
Yes.
programs.
Correct.
So I know we definitely wanted to touch base on that.
Yes.
In regards to when you hear the mayor state, oh, providers, he's not necessarily referring
Talking
to
about
us,
us.
right?
Correct.
He's referring to center owners, New York City centers that have it in New York City buildings. So it's definitely not necessarily geared towards us. And that's where our concern lies, right?
Correct. For us within group family daycare.
Right, exactly.
Yes.
So in this particular RFI for group family daycares, we must join a network like you mentioned. And that is one of our highest concerns.
Absolutely.
Because joining a network means what?
It takes away your independence, your autonomy. We became business owners so that we work for ourselves. Yes, we have regulations that we meet. We are over-regulated, as a matter of fact. But in the same token, we don't want to answer. We don't need a boss. That's the whole key. I don't want to have a boss.
Well, the 3 and 4-year-olds are our bosses.
Those are the biggest bosses.
They
And I'm okay with them.
No, they're fine.
I'm okay with them. I'm not okay with someone who's not doing what we do, telling me what to do, if that makes sense.
Clock it. That part. that part.
So if it takes away our independence and it takes away what we've worked for these past over decade, right? But it takes away how exactly? What is it doing to the parents?
First of all, we don't even understand half of it right now. Certain things are being rolled out, but we still are trying to find out certain things. So the parents, if we don't understand, of course, they're going to be even more confused if we are.
And I'm going to jump in. Another thing as well, that it's taking away their freedom of choice.
Yes.
It's not allowing them to
Exactly.
choose where they want their children enrolled.
Exactly.
I may
Very
want-
good point.
We've seen
I may
it.
want to
Takes
put my
away their
child
freedom of
in the
choice.
daycare that next door to me, as opposed to walking down maybe 20 blocks. Proximity is important to a lot of parents. And when you take away their ability to choose, are you really helping them?
Are you taking away their freedom as well?
Clearly you are.
That's exactly what's happening.
Yeah.
You're taking away their freedom of choice. You're taking away as well their ability to really focus on certain areas, because every program has something special.
Absolutely.
Every single one of us, every single one of our programs all over New York City has their special sauce.
It's not unusual to be late.
And if a parent wants to go to Millie because of her sazon, but Millie is not in the network, and then that means this parent has to take money away from their pocket and decide, do I pay my rent? Do I eat and put food on my table? Or do I pay for childcare? Are you truly giving them a choice? Or are you forcing them into a program that the government now wants them to be a part of?
Right.
Because they no longer have that choice to go to Ayan's program, to go to Tiffany's program. They don't. That's being ripped from them. And that is not fair. Along with the parents' freedom of choice, the provider's freedom of independence.
That's right.
From the networks. It should be my choice. I've been in a network before, many years ago. And then I decided I got what I needed. It was very helpful. I learned what I needed to learn, but I'm okay. I've got it.
Yes.
I've got it. But that was my choice to make. And it was the best choice.
Yeah.
But I decided that. No one forced me into that.
So
Going
joining
back
a
to
network,
that.
there's many questions, right?
Yes.
Many, which we are going to cover later on in this episode. We'll review some questions that providers should be asking prior to joining a network, or even if joining a network.
Yeah.
Right. So we really want to understand. So we understand the modalities. We understand now how the modalities are applied to the RFI, or the RFIs applied to these models. Now we're going to want to better understand where the funding is going, right? Where's the funding coming from? Like, what are important numbers that are in this RFI that's really going to affect us? Tiffany, do they even know the funding yet?
No.
That's why I made it a topic, because
No.
it's not even known yet.
No.
I just wanted to highlight that.
We have a program, an initiative, right? That's coming out in September for a certain amount of seats.
2,000 to be exact.
Thank you. 2,000. It first started with a pilot program of 200, which if you guys saw our last episode, we mentioned. And then it increased from one moment to the next to 2,000 by September. But taking it back to Millie's question, they don't know. They don't. But let me give you guys some facts that we can all research and we can all find. All right, the governor promises 1.7 billion expansion in her 2026-2027 plan for child care assistance program. As a parent, you hear that and you're like,
Excited.
Yeah.
yes.
But then I'm right there telling you, hold up.
Hold on, wait a minute.
Hold on now.
Okay, but now New York for ACS, all right, they're only going to get 475 million.
Yeah.
Let's trickle this down a little bit more. Now, besides the 58 local districts, the money can be counted towards. So there's even it's like a web. It's a web, and it's hard to keep track with this. So that's why we're just stating this information for you. State agencies such as OCFS and new proposed offices, they're the ones that are also going to get part of that funding. Why? Because this is needed for oversight, for infrastructure, and for the rollout. They need to have someone to have this oversight. Perfectly understandable. New York City system, specifically for New York City only, the initiative that we're just mentioning here, the 2K and 3K stabilization. School districts statewide for universal pre-K expansion, along with community-based organizations and private providers delivering pre-K seats where districts outsource. And community-based organizations, that's usually like your centers.
Exactly.
All right? Along with selected counties in the pilot programs in Dutchess, Monroe, and a few other ones. Now, providers via targeted mechanisms like family childcare networks, which is what we've been discussing, these pilot programs will also have part of this funding, along with a difference in payments, so differential payments. Now, I don't know if you guys have been counting, but let me go over this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's all going to get split up into, and these aren't even like the branches of the tree I was talking about at this point.
I think your analogy is brilliant. A tree, and so much of it comes from one place, right? Them putting OCF in charge of this budgeting exactly, and just it leaking out into all these other branches that it has to water. And then also, again, it brings us back to how they want to allocate it, right? Which community needs it more, which one is using it more. And it's so antiquated. Most of the time, we don't get the resources we need. We end up running out of the resources, hence why many parents are on a wait list. And this budget is actually part of the process of getting people off the wait list.
Oh,
Not
Millie.
really.
Millie and Ayan, can we actually touch on that? Because I'm going to let you guys touch on it. The wait list. So we're talking about 2K, 3K, beautiful.
Yeah.
We love it. We're here for it. But what happened to these families on this wait list? Can we talk a little bit about that?
Absolutely. So this is my concern, right? This is their idea. This is their big idea. I respect it. I may not agree with it, but I respect it. But my issue with it is this. You are reinventing the wheel, so to speak, instead of utilizing what we currently have and using this money to make it better. That is my whole spiel when it comes to this RFI. I keep saying RFP because I'm not familiar with the thing yet. So that's my concern. And I think that's a concern of a lot of providers and parents. When they hear free and these things are being in place, first of all, 2,000, that's like, 4 blocks within the Bronx and you're done.
No.
That's nothing.
You want to know something very interesting that happened on Friday? I got a call from a parent. And they said, hi, I have been seeing all over the news that today's the last day to apply for 2K and my child isn't. I said, whoa. Señora, one moment, please. Un momento. Slow down. Okay. Run that by me again. She said, yes. Today is the last day to apply. And my child is 2 and I want him to get enrolled. Can I apply and can he start? I said, okay. thank you so much for calling and taking this time. But I know exactly what you're referring to. Yes, I've been seeing it too, because if she called me, imagine who else has also gotten these calls.
Hi, thank you for calling. My name is, okay, yeah, how can I help you today?
Yeah.
And I had to sit down and explain to her, this is something that's on the news. Yes, you're correct. But this is right now only for, just as you mentioned, 2,000 seats. And it does not start till September.
Yeah.
And you have to go as a parent to apply somewhere specific. And there's certain steps that need to be taken beforehand because not everyone's going to get selected. Once again, we're taking away this parent's freedom of choice because she called the program. She said specifically, I want to enroll my child. But if my program is not selected, she can't enroll her child in the program
Which would probably
that's
be
close to her.
prime.
Yes. And this is the thing.
Prime example of what providers will be going through.
Correct, correct.
Tiffany, you are knowledgeable about the topic, right? And you're able to give her guidance. If they would have called another provider who has no clue what she's talking about, Señora, yo no sé.
We don't even know what it is.
Yo no sé. Yo no sé. I don't know. Yeah, you're absolutely
Je ne sais
right.
pas.
Yo no sé pas. Listen, English, Spanish, baby.
We can add Somali too. Macarena yo.
So we've hit on so many things, the modalities of childcare, how the RFI applies to them, how some of the money is allocated and how people think we receive the money and we really don't. Don't get me wrong, they're trying, right? We can see, but history, it shows that the system is not working, unfortunately.
No.
There's still many parents that are left with no childcare. There's still children that do not enter the program that they need.
Yep.
Because like you mentioned, one program may be more conducive to another child's needs.
Yes.
And if you're taking away a parent's choice to choose, then what is that doing for the child?
And are these programs taken into account? Like I said, one of the things I'm really passionate about, along with everything else, is if the child has a disability, is that taken into consideration with these
Initiatives.
the amounts, the initiatives that they're trying to push through? That's important because I know you guys. There's been an uptake with children with disabilities, and
I agree.
We need to have the funding to address those needs. I don't want to be that provider that turns away a parent who's so literally, one, I'm right there near where they live. Two, their child, and they're comfortable with me.
Yes.
They see that I actually love what I do, and I have staff who actually cares about their children. So why can't they pick that provider if I'm able to facilitate that for them?
Because the RFI 4410 centers can apply to provide general education for 3K seats in SCIS through this initiative, through the RFI, and can seek enhancement funding so special education students can match the 6 hours and 20 minutes for SCY education, meaning that they'll have another place to go to besides us.
Exactly.
Because they qualify to apply for this RFI.
But we have the capabilities to do exactly what centers are doing, and may I say better.
Yes, I
Better.
am.
I'm better. I am better.
She said better.
We do, because
Yes,
we
baby.
offer
Yes.
that intimacy that they just can't offer. I'm sorry. I know my parents, every single one of them. I know their siblings sometimes. I know their mothers, their fathers. You know, we have that type of closeness and bond.
Yeah.
I didn't get that when my children used to attend center. You know, it was
pretty good
very
point.
Yeah,
transactional. I don't know.
nice.
Maybe it was just the one I went to. Don't jump in my throat.
Don't say
jump
the
down
name of
my
it.
throat, please.
So we're going to continue reviewing important numbers for the RFI,
Yes.
right? They released it February 5th.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
The breaking news. I feel like you should be a news anchor, by the way. I really love the breaking news.
Dun, 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 dun.
Hi, everyone.
Like Yes, Tiffany, yes.
Millie, you're right behind her.
I enjoyed it. No, this is not my forte.
Yeah, well, you could have fooled me.
But I appreciate it. Thank you. So it was released February 5th. And then when was it due? Or
Wasn't it the same week
Don't
or
attack
the week
messenger.
after?
Yes, that's right. That's right.
All I
2
know
weeks.
is when we were at the meeting, it already passed the deadline to apply. That I remember. And we had the meeting last week, so.
Correct.
Yeah.
Right. So they're having meetings after to explain what already was supposed to be submitted.
Yes.
So they gave providers 2 weeks, right, to decide whether or not they wanted to join a network.
Or be a network.
Or be a network. Right. So, and just a little bit, 2K, the school days in the year, it's 6 hours and 20 minutes. It's 180 days. Or expanded day is a full year, which is 10 hours per day, 260 days. 3K would be the same thing, 6 hours and 20 minutes just for the school day and 180 days. And if awarded for a full day, it's 10 hours per day, which is typically 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. And the meals are pretty much the same as we provide, 2 meals. So that makes you feel like you can handle, right, an RFP with the Department of Education. But what else? What else do you have to figure out in place if you really want to work with the Department of Education?
Well, Millie, I think you'd be great to even give us a little bit more information because we both have 3K and you also have a pre-K program.
Yeah.
And this is something that I believe that is not being spoken about significantly, where it's a process. It's a process.
Right.
But it's not impossible.
I think that's why we're advocating so much that we can do it, right? Because I kind of feel like we proved it.
Yes,
we
good
proved
point.
that we're directly contracted. We're not with the network. We are directly contracted with the Department of Education to offer 3K and pre-K services. What does that mean? We uphold all DOE regulations, their standards, their assessments, their protocols. We work hand in hand with their team. So we are fully capable. So when we
Absolutely.
speak, we're speaking from lived experience.
How many years?
Ooh. Pre-K 8 years, 3K 7 years.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. That's how many years we've had our contracts with the Department of Education and all of its resources.
Right.
As independent providers, independent group family daycare providers with a direct contract
Yes.
with the DOE. And we're just 2 of many,
Yes.
of
Yes,
many
you're absolutely
successful
right. Yeah.
programs that are out there. So just like you said, Millie, we've proven it.
Yes.
We've proven it. We can do it.
It comes back to why reinvent the wheel? Why not utilize programs that are an example? You would be the example of programs that are already there. Okay, they are working. So why don't we just elaborate on that? Why don't we just do an RFP like they did before, the way that you guys got involved? Do that and allocate the money for that so that more providers like us, like me, can join. As opposed to doing something completely different and having now asking us, oh, we could become a network. I don't want to be a network.
That's a really good point. I don't want to be a network.
So just listening to you guys and talking about what we're talking about, what honestly this boils down to is let's have this system work with something that with the programs that are already in place, such as myself, who want to improve, who want to do better, and want to have contracts with the DOE, for example. Let's hone in to those providers who have the education, who have the background, who've had the experience, because I've had 10 years of experience. I know many providers who have way more than me and are passionate about what they're doing. So can we utilize what we have instead of reinventing the wheel? I know I keep saying that, but that's what it boils down to. Let's not change anything. Let's make what we have better.
Include group family daycare in the process.
Yes.
As independent.
Independent.
Right.
As independent
Yeah.
providers.
So not joining a network.
Correct.
Yes.
Correct. And let's touch on what that would look like or what questions one would need to ask if this does not change. All right. So first things first is that the deadline has unfortunately passed, like Millie mentioned. But it's important to stay alert and aware of what's to come. All right. It's important to still be knowledgeable and also advocate for ourselves.
If we receive children from this RFI, you cannot charge other parents different rates for independent
Good
seats.
point. Good
Technically,
point.
it was always that way, but good to know.
Good point. Very good point. And who controls the enrollments? Who's going to control the wait list? How are your payments going to be made to you?
Right. So how they give us our students? What about someone doesn't like us?
What?
And is it going to be the same?
What did she just say?
Wait,
what?
M&M.
Oh, sugar. Oh, man.
Think about it.
Yeah.
Like there's bias.
It's true. It's
Good
true.
point. Good
All right,
point. Okay.
hurry up.
You can edit it.
Oh, no. You're right, Millie. You're right. There's so much to think about now. So how are we going to get paid? Weekly, monthly? Or is it going to fall under the timelines that nobody knows?
And do we
Because-
have to apply for the rate to increase? Or is that automatic?
Oh, how about this? Many networks actually shut down. Many networks went bankrupt. Many networks were not able to pay
But yet
the
you
providers
want us
in there.
to join.
Yes.
Or create
A
our own
model.
network. So you want us to either join, create your own network. How is this funding going to occur?
Yes.
We're just asking valid questions so
Yes.
that this way we can better prepare. And also asking our viewers to ask these questions so that this way,
Nice.
you can better prepare for this. Another thing as well, what happens if my enrollments drop? Do they reduce my seats? Can I leave this network at any time? And if so, what happens to the families that are enrolled with me through this network?
Take them away. I picture networks like these little mean people. All right, let me focus. I'm
no,
sorry.
no,
I'm sure they're
no.
not, because a lot of people actually said some really good things about
Yeah,
that. But
absolutely,
I've
absolutely.
heard
and
Absolutely.
different
Yeah.
things from them.
Yeah.
I've heard
Yeah. And I've
positive
had good
things.
experience.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've heard positive things. I've heard negative things. I've heard my negative one is that they weren't paid at all, and then
Yes.
they went
heard
bankrupt.
that.
And
Yeah.
for a year now,
Many.
they've been asking to get paid
Wow.
and haven't gotten paid. Now you just imagine
Wow.
you working every single day, and one day they're like, "Oh, no money, bye bye."
In terms of money, we have no money.
Ooh.
Nuh-uh.
So thank you, Ayan. That's so interesting because many politicians don't know this. They don't have access to this information.
No.
So I don't say this in a combative tone. We are not saying this in a combative tone.
Not at all.
It's more so of a tone to help inform in regards to an industry that they're not in regards to perhaps an industry that they're just now learning about. And with that being said, as written, this RFI disadvantages are completely transparent for group family daycares. And if providers don't understand this shift, they risk becoming operators inside of a system they no longer control.
Thank you. Thank you so much for all that helpful information. But to one of my favorite segments, the Did You Know segment, sponsored by Scholars Path. Look us up on Instagram at SP. Okay, so I wanted to quickly talk about a regulation that I think we take for granted, but I wanted to speak about it because last week I had a very unfortunate situation at my program. I'll make it quick and sweet. Fire drills. Please take fire drills very seriously. Under 416.4B1, programs all must have an emergency plan and at least once a month during operating hours conduct a fire drill. Last week, we had a manhole explode in front of our building where our daycare is. And unfortunately, the building became engulfed with smoke, black smoke. Fire department had to come, break windows in the corridors, break windows in some apartments. Wow. Our kids had to be evacuated, but they did their fire drill last week and that morning of, and they all knew exactly what to do.
Yes.
And
Clock
my
it.
team knows our evacuation plan. They grabbed the key and they were able to evacuate to the safe destination that's on our evacuation plan. So please take fire drills seriously. Best practice for me, I would say do it twice a month since the children are a bit younger. And if you operate 2 shifts like I do, AM and PM, please ensure that you do it for both.
Wow, that was scary. That is so scary
Yeah.
because we're always talking about fire drills since the beginning of time. But I love that you and your team and your children were prepared.
Thank you.
Were prepared.
Thank
so
you.
kudos to that.
Yeah.
Kudos to that.
Shout out to the M&M ladies.
That part,
Woo, woo.
yes. Now, from a compliance standpoint, you know, I'm always going to hit you guys with the compliance. Group family daycare providers, assistants, center owners, center workers, substitutes, everyone within your programs. I would even push to say household members
Yes.
should be
Good job.
trained in this area.
Yes.
Okay. Everyone, along with, they should know where the emergency meeting points are at, and it should be posted on your bulletin boards. That's part of best practices. And I'm going to even turn it up a notch. On our parent handbook, we even have these destinations there for the families.
nice.
So that
Ooh.
this
It's
way they know
important.
as well.
Okay.
Because if there is an emergency, they know
where to go.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Oh, I like that.
So
I'm gonna
even
double-check
turning
on
it up a notch.
Very
so
nice.
thank you. That's a great Did You Know segment, Melly.
Thank you. Thank you.
Parent handbook.
And thankfully, everyone was safe. So shout out to FTNY as well. They did a good job. After understanding the modalities of education, understanding funding allocation, really digging into how the RFI is applied to different forms of education throughout New York City, now it is time for us to ask ourselves as group family daycare providers, is this really the beginning of our extinction, or is it an expansion for us? Ask, how is it going to look for us to join a network? How is it going to look for us to comply with DOE regulations? How is it going to look for us to budget with them? Can we budget with them? So these are all questions that providers should be asking themselves after reviewing the information in this format.
Legitimate questions, legitimate concerns that many providers are, inquiring about, and we need answers. We hope that we will get answers before this rollout is complete. I know it's already in place, but it could be tweaked, right? Based on the concerns we have, and that's all we're asking for.
Thank you, Ayan. Thank you, Tiffany. Again, so do you want to just survive in your business, or do you want to master and thrive in it?